ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरुं पादपद्मे तयो श्रुत्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। नमः श्री यतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित् सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे। Because we are having a very wonderful Kathamrit प्रवचन in the evenings, इसलिए मैं सोचा क्या शुक्रवार सुबह होगा कि नहीं, but then since all of you are keen that we must continue with this, इसी कारण से because अप्रैल की बाद तो लंबा छुट्टी हो जाएगा, मई जून में तो क्लास नहीं है, हाँ, तो रविवार शाम को ऑफिस में थोड़ा हो सकता है अलग इनफॉर्मली, हाँ, बैठकी वेदांत कहते हैं ना, but morning times we don't have any class. So last we were talking about Chandra and Girija, two aspirants with who had some very special powers. They did some sadhana, as a result of which they developed some miraculous powers. How that indulgence in such exhibition of these kind of miraculous powers, how it led to their going away from the chosen goal. Of course, because इसीलिए आप महापुरुष की संस्कृत में आने का क्या फायदा क्या है? See, first they were initiated, or they came into contact with Bhairavi Brahman. बहुत साधन करने लगा. They started doing sadhana, and then even while they were in the mode of sadhana, they developed this kind of extraordinary powers. Because they were not very careful, because they were not focused about their ultimate goal of life, they got deviated. They started exhibiting. और चंद्रा की तो बहुत ही बुरी हालत हुआ. He became involved in somebody with some woman or something, and then finally he was humiliated. And this Girija, of course, although there is not much description of whatever Girija did, but once when Sri Ramakrishna was struggling, so he showed him light by just turning his back, and then Sri Ramakrishna could see the light from a long distance. So it was clear, but Sri Ramakrishna clearly says again, there is something one should be extremely careful and avoid. Can you also remember when once he asked Narendra, I can give you all the Ashtasiddhis, kya tumhari chahiye kya? Then Narendra said, will it help me to realize God? When Sri Ramakrishna said no, he simply shunned it. See, in fact, that is one of the very special features of this Ramakrishna Vivekananda Bhavdhara. And very consistently at all levels, always they try to keep these things away from public glare, away from sharing, away from giving any publicity. See, even I know there were great sadhus in the order who had some, definitely because of a deep sadhana, they developed some powers of the mind. But these would never be given any prominence. That's why, even in publicly, they would never allow sadhus to discuss about their sadhana, what they have got, what they have not got. Simply, you keep doing your sadhana. Sadhana karte raho. Iske adhik kuch nahi kahenge. That has been, somehow, that is why they have kept it up. And they would never allow not only miraculous powers, even projecting a personality in a bigger way. Even that is also, why? Because someone has a charisma. For example, when all the direct disciples were there, Baba Maharaj was so charismatic. Unki chehra bhi itni sundar tha. He was so, glamorous to look at. Wherever he would go, he would shed a kind of a light. That kind of a features, that kind of a color of the skin. And people once they met him, because he was so exceedingly affectionate and unbelievably concerned about devotees, they would all flock to him. The famous incident, one day around 1:30 or something like that, a group of people came by boat to Belur Math. Those days, it was easier, people could land into that Holy Mother's Ghat. And then these people came in, they were not devotees, simply saw actually jaga hai, dekhne ke liye aaye, andar aa gaye. So everybody had naturally sadhus, they're always in samadhi after noon food. तो किसका साथ तो भेंट नहीं हुआ, but Baba was sitting as if it was divine providence. So they came and met him straight. पहले प्रश्न महाराज तो किसी के साथ क्या कहा प्रसाद लिया तो किसी अभी आ रहे हैं जानते महाराज जानते थे वो नहीं लिया. He knew that they had not had the prasad, but it was late and he couldn't call anybody. He simply took them to the dining hall. And सब खाना खा के सब बर्तन वहाँ छोड़ के चले गए थे. Everybody had left. There was rice and dal, some leftover. He served and he scrapped the chachadi, the special type of greens which you cannot get anywhere else except in Belur Math, because they put mud and everything, the stem and the roots all together they cook. You can't get anywhere in the world. So a special tarika sabji banta hai, that chachadi they call it, universally famous. Oh thoda, it was just at the bottom of that cooking vessel, he scrapped and he served. And they were so satisfied. They were touched. So here is the elderly monk at 2 o'clock when nobody else is awake in the mud premises. He is serving them. And then, not only that, he asked them to wait at 3:30 or 4 when the temple opened. Again they had the darshan. He gave them fruit prasad, everything. They were so satisfied. They went back. क्या 10-15 साल बाद फिर आए उन लोग. They came after 10 or 15 years just to see Baburam Maharaj. ठाकुर के देखने के लिए नहीं आया. Not to see Thakur, just to see Baburam Maharaj. And they came and asked, where is that Swami? इतने प्यार से खिलाया हम लोग. Fed us with so much of affection. And अभी भी मुंह में लगा हुआ वो taste. Even now the taste is lingering in our mouth. The greens and other things which he fed us. Where is he? But तो गुजर के he had had Mahasamadhi by that time. He was not there. So he was so charismatic. But Swamiji was very clear. He said, Baburam Dikha Devina. Baburam will not initiate. Raja alone will give. So from that time, president. See, all of them were there. Very rarely here there someone might have given. But by and large, only the president of the month. Whoever is there. So, in fact, in the case of Baburam Maharaj, Swamiji clearly said, Baburam will not initiate. So that is the purity, that is how the purity of this tradition of this order is preserved. So you would never allow, in fact, Sri Ramakrishna once came to know that Niranjan is practicing this planchet and all. He scolded him. Bhoot karke tum bhoot ban jaoge. You will become a ghost thinking about them and doing in such indulgences. So this has always been the tradition. So when this Chandra and this they came, their only singular good fortune was that they came in contact with Sri Ramakrishna. So although they had those things, he simply withdrew those miraculous powers into himself and again allowed them to go forward in their line of sadhana. That's why, उस दिन हम लोग देखा बाद में, after many years later, I think probably after Swamiji's return from the second visit, then this Chandra, he came to Belur Math, someone by that name. They are thinking it must be the same because they had not seen him earlier. He came and simply would sit in the temple and Dada Pukarke, he used to shed profusely tears continuously, saying that remembering Sri Ramakrishna, just sitting in the shrine. And he had a very simple dress, nothing, no belongings, just some one water bottle or something like that. And he was going from place to place. And Brahmaji and others said that you stay with us, because they knew that he is a great sadhaka. Of course, he didn't come back. He said, I've gone to many places. He says, whatever Sri Ramakrishna had told me have all become true, except one. What is that? He said, at the end, I will appear before you. Accepting that, all the other predictions of Sri Ramakrishna had become true. I am just waiting for this. Only one prediction, that was the Master's promise to appear before him at his death. So he was just waiting for that final deliverance. So again, that's why through that one story of two brothers, that's what Sri Ramakrishna was trying to explain. Again, this is another story. In many ways he would explain the spiritual life, the attainment of such powers is trifling, worthless, and actually they are worthy of contempt. So we cannot resist mentioning another of the master stories on the subject. So by performing various yogic practices, one yogi had acquired great powers. So he went and met. One day a great sadhu was perhaps practicing meditation, maybe on the bank of Ganges somewhere, I don't know. And then, when this yogi met him, he saw this person was meditating, he was deeply absorbed in spiritual practices. He asked him, after itne kar rahe hain, you are doing so much, what is it that you have got? Because by some practice of yoga, these are all clearly mentioned in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, the various stages, whatever would come, this anima, laghima, etc., etc. So all the detailed descriptions. What will you get? He said, what do you need? I am only waiting for the Lord's blessings. See, what should I gain? I don't want anything. I want only to realize Him, and that is only possible through His grace. So what can I do but call upon Him? I just have to do sadhana. I have no choice. I have known that this is what is to be attained. Kab hoga? Unki marji. Whatever, whenever His grace descends on me, I will get it. Not before that. So my only choice is to keep on calling Him with all my heart, with all my mind, with all my effort. So I am not dissatisfied. I am not in a hurry. I am not impatient. So then this person says, no. Tum dusra kuch karna chahiye. You should do something else. This is not enough. So after some time, this sadhaka asked him, Acha, aap kya kiya? What have you done? He said, Abhi dekho. There was one elephant which was standing under a tree. He said, Kuch mantra kaha, abhi mar ja. Turant, hathi mar gaya. A big elephant, just he dropped dead. And then, abhi kya hoga? To 2 minute ke baad fira, abhi ud jao. Kuch mantra kaha, abhi ud jao kaha. And what you have done? The yogi proudly said, did you see that? Now watch again. He then commanded the dead elephant, come alive. And once again, as if, kya zameen pe gira pada aisa karke it shook his body as if it was dusting all the accumulated dust, and then it came alive again. So, then the yogi said, now you have seen for yourself. All this while, the holy man had been silent, but now he said, I have seen an elephant die and come back to life again. But what have you gained by having this power? Has it freed you from the wheel of birth and death? Will it save you from sickness and old age? Can it help you to realize God? The yogi was speechless and his understanding awakened. So again, Sri Ramakrishna used to say such powerful stories. Now the idea is to drive home the point. You may do, see, even those who do perform miracles and this and that. What does it? Does it give you anything that is permanent? You see, all these, even many of these so-called things, they are there only in a very momentary way for some time. After some time, you lose that powers, or even otherwise. You see, if those powers are, if a person has such great powers, why does he not do it on himself? If it is permanent and if it is real, he can give to himself God realization. He can be completely free from the idea that he is body. He can be eternally young. He can never have death or birth or anything. He can be ever joyful. Why is it not happening? See, these are all temporary. These are all of a fleeting nature. This can happen only in a very insignificant and a temporary way. So that is very clear that's why one of the greatest, miracle mongers in recent times, he also had to die finally. How much, see, they had to completely go under allopathy treatment and die ultimately. See, nobody can escape the laws of nature like birth, death, etc. But if you have to really transcend them, be free. Be free in what sense? That doesn't mean that you will not have birth or death. See, the moment you understand the utter hollowness of this idea of birth and death, you know how to go beyond death. See, your body will perish. You will become old. You may have pain. You may have disease. But your mind will be in such a state that you will not be bothered. See, I have told you also. It's good to remember this again and again. I have myself seen one of our own acharyas. He was having cancer of the stomach. Stomach cancer is very excruciating pain. I just saw him 2 days before his death in our hospital. He said, you see, it is all because of this Prakriti and Purusha coming together. All this suffering, and I was amazed. A man who is on his deathbed, suffering, absolutely no trace of any distress or feeling that he is suffering or anything. Just talking about the impermanent nature of life. It's only because of the Prakriti and Purusha coming together. This has brought about all this play of Maya and all this happening. And he has got, as if it has got nothing to do with him, namely his body. That is the idea. So, how does one really go beyond that? When you do sadhana, when we realize, when we go higher and higher up in the scale of spiritual evolution, what happens is you understand the real meaning of life. What is coming into this world? What is going away? What is birth? What is death? How do you transcend that? That gives you a state of mind. Then just as if someone dies in our neighborhood, yes, we understand, we participate, we offer our condolences, people even go and cry. But they come back because they know that it is not something with which you are to be attached permanently. It's only a temporary thing, it is not concerning you. There is deep awareness is within you that it does not concern you at all. It is somebody else's. So in the same way, if we feel about our own body, our own life, that it doesn't concern us, that is the state of realization. That is Jivan Mukti. Where you are completely aware that this body has no relevance to you. You are not bothered. However diseased, however sick, however incapacitated the body might be, still if you feel that it has no relevance as far as your life is concerned or your state of mind is concerned, then you are virtually, probably that is what is called the state of being a Jivan Mukta. Where you are not affected at all. So the yogi was asked by the sadhaka, what have you achieved? What does it matter if an elephant it takes birth or if it dies? There are every day millions of elephants dying, millions of elephants are being born. You have been witness to one. What does it matter really? How does it change your life? Then that man understood. So Ramkrishna, again you would say such stories to drive home the idea, the point that be careful about these siddhis, about these powers, about these things. They will come, but you must completely steer of them so that you don't get distracted from your real goal or the ultimate goal of life. So with the Bhairavi Brahmani's help, Chandra and Girija had made great progress in the path of God, but they had not attained perfection. When they became associated with the Master, his divine power destroyed their occult powers and their deep-rooted egos. Thus, their understanding was awakened and they moved forward along the spiritual paths with renewed energy. So that is a great blessing of coming into contact with an extraordinary saint or a Mahapurusha or a man of God or an avatara. Why? That is why, many people came. Many of various hues, various shades, various spiritual understanding, various spiritual levels of knowledge. They come. Each one of them, their life gets fulfilled. Ramkrishna always say, Amikichu Bhangtashini, Gurtes. He has not come to destroy. Only to make it fuller and fuller. Make it complete in every case. So the Chandra and Girija came with some kind of awakened powers, but misdirected, going astray. He brought them to the track. Not only that, this case of everyone, whether they came straight away to learn from Sri Ramakrishna or whether they were providentially brought to teach him. See, for example, Bhairavi Brahmani, they are going to discuss. That's what Satma is going to discuss in great detail after this. This Bhairavi Brahmani apparently came to teach Sri Ramakrishna. She came to show him the 64 tantras, how to practice each and every one very minutely. Even she would used to bring a piece of flesh, this, that, many descriptions she had seen earlier. Every little bit of tantra she taught him, made him practice. So, she was obviously Sri Ramakrishna's guru. Sri Ramakrishna did not know anything about the intricacies of tantra sadhana. So, she told him everything, made him practice, made him realize. There also he got into the highest samadhi even while doing the tantra sadhana. So, Sri Ramakrishna got perfection in the mode of tantric practices through Bhairavi Brahmani. But in return, slowly, as days went by, as she lived in the company of Sri Ramakrishna, first of all, her deficiencies came to light. Had he not come here, had he been only wandering everywhere else, she would not have known at all. Because in Bhairavi Brahmani's case also, although these tendencies were in her even before, this is the first time they really came to light. That is the beauty of coming into contact with such a person. Previously, Bhairavi Brahmani was known to be a great Sadhika, a person who was greatly established in spiritual life. This is what people knew. But when the moment she came into contact with Ramakrishna, the first effect was slowly her deficiencies were coming to surface. And finally Ramakrishna was also finding the solution. That's why they say, even in the order, even in this Ramakrishna Sampradaya, when you come, initially we all come. Alag-alag se, harek, aap bhi ho, may bhi ho, sab, we are all Mahapurushas individually, when we are alone. But in this collective dealing, iske andar, ek ghoti bati bolche na Thakur, then it makes noise. Then we come to know what is our deficiency, where do we go wrong, what is our problem, what is hurting us, where our ego is playing, where our deficiencies are. See, otherwise if you don't come, if you don't practice, it will never come to surface. Kaise pata chalega? We are all alone. We come once in 10 days. Pranam kiya mandir mein, thoda aarti mein baitha, pranami diya, chale gaye, bas. What is that? How will you know? So we are all great, extraordinary people. But only when we live together, when we work together, when we try to work towards a common goal, then all our individual deficiencies, little problems here, there, etc., everything come to surface. Then you work hard on that. Once you know that we have this problem, we have these little difficulties, once you work hard on that, then Sri Ramakrishna miraculously gives you the guidance. How to get over it, how to reach perfection, you learn through that. So the Bhairavi Brahmani is a very classical case, where she came as a guru to teach Ramakrishna. So it was all wonderful when people saw here is a very Jyotirmay, aisa ek devata ki maapik dekhne ke liye. She was, like Mathur Babu tried, we saw how he tried to little make fun with her. He was ashamed when he got her answer. He said, where is your Bhairava? Then she pointed out to the Shiva lying in the temple. Believe, he is motionless. He said, he is without life. He said, if I cannot make him alive, what is the use of my sadhana? He was ashamed hearing her replies. That was it. It was not that premeditated answer. Spontaneous. So how her mind was tuned. When someone tried to really poke fun at her, to point out something in a very demeaning way, her mind was so tuned, instantaneously she first of all said that Shiva is my Bhairava. Not only that, if he is motionless, if he is without life, I will make him alive through my sadhana. That is why I am here. So, but such a person also, slowly as she mixed with Ramakrishna, one by one, like small bubbles, they started appearing. Then slowly it was found out, no, her life, her sadhana, her realization was also not complete. She has to work harder. And slowly she understood it was a very tough job. And then finally she went to achieve perfection. So we have clear evidence that although the Bhairavi Brahmani made great progress in her sadhana, she did not achieve full realization of the indivisible Satchidananda. So you see, that's why they say, through whatever school you approach, whether through Dvaita, whether through Tantra, whether through Yoga, or through even Vedanta, unless you get that ultimate unitary experience, that you are the Atman or the Brahman, that complete, indivisible, undivided Chaitanya, that consciousness, wherever there is duality, all Tantras, everything, definitely they are good, but they are, that wherever there is duality, it is bound to create that little friction, a little problem. But when you go beyond that, even through Tantra, even through Bhakti, even through devotion, when you reach the highest, where there is complete erasure of the self, there is nothing called I, nothing called individuality. Till we reach that, complete cessation of sorrow and suffering will not happen. So that is why Bhairavi Brahmani, she had done sadhana, but it was not enough. The master perfected the disciplines of Tantra with the help of Bhairavi Brahmani before Totapari came to Dakshineshwar. This naked itinerant monk had attained Nirvikalpa Samadhi, the culmination of Vedantic experience. So, then we saw, even when Bhairavi was there, Totapari came to Dakshineshwar. So he saw that, here is a person, the fittest possible aspirant for this kind of Vedanta sadhana. Iska pakdo, catch him first. Jabardasti, tumko main Vedanta shiksha de dunga. He said, no, I want to initiate you. Mera nahi chahiye. I have my own divine mother, I don't want. No. Tumko karna hai, you have to do. Then he somehow brought, and see, Ramakrishna, he was The point is, he was not informed in the sense intellectually about all that. Whatever it was, he had everything in him. So even from a childhood, he was having great ecstasy, many experiences. He had many things. Only thing is, he did not know it in a technical form, in the form of an intellectual understanding of what is what. So when he said, "Kya Vedanta sadhana kya hai? What is Vedanta sadhana?" Alright, you come with me. What is it? I will tell you. And then he made him sit, and then you know that story, whatever happened. So even when he came, he saw that here was a person, because he himself was a great sadhaka. He had practiced Nirvikalpa Samadhi and he established it after 40 years of struggle. Immediately on seeing Sri Ramakrishna, he knew here is a person who is the fittest aspirant for such a kind. See, normally, even any great teacher, even a great musician, great, accompanying player, tablis, when they see a real Adhar, there is always a tendency to teach. Any good teacher, school may be, college may be, jahan bhi ho, when they find a good student, people are very keen to teach them, because mera vidya kisi ko dena hai, my this thing is to be passed on to somebody, a fit recipient. So good teachers find great delight in teaching great students. Otherwise, it's very difficult, they don't understand this and that. So when he saw Sri Ramakrishna, he said, "Hare, escape." Then, Bhairavi was there. Immediately, slowly the reaction started. First he said, "Arey Baba, don't go." Bhairavi tried her utmost to dissuade the master from continuing along that path. She said, "My son, don't visit him often. Don't mix with him too much. His path is the path of dry knowledge. If you associate with him too closely, your love and devotion to God will disappear." You see what a narrow understanding. Actually, it's the knowledge that one speaks about in Advaita. It's dry, if you look at it from a person who is in a dualistic mode of sadhana, worship, or even much below. Once you go beyond that, once you go to that level where there is only that undivided unitary consciousness, that experience of complete unity, where is the question of any distinction? Even to say that it is dry or wet or whatever it is, nobody can make any, because there is only that Satchit Ananda, this complete bliss, where there is a total immersion in that kind of an anubhuti, where it is beyond, it's beyond sorrow, beyond any duality, beyond anything. So how can anyone say it is dry knowledge? Because this person is looking at it from a limited, narrow angle of a devotee, where they are used to offering and sharing and shedding tears and going and this and that. So from that standpoint, it looks as if it is dry. It is where there is no performance, there is no ritual, there is no offering of bhoga, there is no shedding tears, there is no crying, there is no singing, dancing. But it goes much beyond that. Even as long as you, even in any motion, where do you see all distortions? Only when the speed is much less. When there is much less speed, there is distortion, there is digression, you can see. But when it goes beyond a particular speed, you see as if it is stationary. The thing that is moving, it looks as if it is not moving at all. But it is moving at a terrific speed. It is moving at such a speed, you are unable to notice the motion there. So can you say, "Arey, it is stationary, it is not moving at all. Uska thoda speed kam kar do, dekh sakte hain." You can see, watch it moving. That is better, it is more attractive. But this speed is much better, much smoother, it is faster, it's more glorious. Only thing is, you must have the eye, the intellect to understand it. So, Vedanta can be the most glorious thing, only at least if you allow it to understand it intellectually. Then you can do that sadhana. So she was not even there, she was even below that. So she said, "It will become dry, you will lose your devotion, don't go anywhere near this man, he is going to spoil you completely." Of course, Sri Ramakrishna, neither he was going to Bhairavi, nor he was going to Totabri, nor he was going to Jatadhari, he did not go anywhere. He was sitting, others were coming, "Oh, kya kare?" It is not his fault. He didn't go and call, "Arey, anybody Vedanta is there, will you teach me?" He never asked. He was just sitting in Dakshineshwar. माँ जिसकी बेचते हैं उसके पास वो जाते थे. He had no control, he had no choice. Whomsoever mother sent, he participated. Mother sent Bhairavi, okay, आ जाओ. Mother sent Totapuri, आ जाओ. Mother sends Jatadhari, Ajao, Ramlala, anybody, I say, okay, mother sends, I have no choice. It's mother's choice. So, but how would Bhairavi understand? She was understanding it from a limited intellect. It is evident from this that although the learned Brahmani was endowed with extraordinary devotion to God, she had no knowledge of, nor could she even imagine, the fact that the Nirvikalpa state of Vedanta, which she considered to be a dry path, is in fact the first step to attaining supreme devotion. So, Maharaj is taking it a little differently, because again, Maharaj says here, even Raja Maharaj said that Nirvikalpa Samadhi is the first step in spiritual realization. God knows. You can understand what is their level, what they are talking about. You can't even imagine. Now, actually he says here, this is the first step to developing that kind of an extraordinary devotion. So, even in devotion, there are states which are far beyond what we normally understand, what we normally see, where there is a sense of duality. Going beyond duality, what can be, for example, I can say, what can be that kind of a devotion? Normally, there is an idea of the devotee worshipper and the worshipped. So, there is a rasasvada, there is a participation in this, where the devotee enjoys the great glory or the company of Lord. But they say, which Satma also argued earlier, supposing there is a complete erasure of oneself, the devotee has completely erased himself and is aware only of the benign and the supreme presence of the Lord himself, that is also a kind of Advaita. Because there is no duality, there is absolute non-recognition by the devotee of his own existence, of his own body or of his own soul. That means he has gone to a state which is even beyond the normal realm of what we call as duality. So he says, if you are in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, in fact even if you see Thakur's life, after his Vedanta sadhana, the way you could associate with the Divine Mother, the way you could go from Dvaita to Advaita back and forth, perhaps that was possible only because he had reached the highest state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi or the highest knowledge of Vedanta. Otherwise, till then, he was going only at the highest plane of the Dvaita, where he had a vision, we had so many things, he had Samadhi and everything. But when he reached the highest state of Nirvikalpa Samadhi and was immersed in it for months together, when he came back from that, then only he became more perfect in the sense, he could go up and down. He could dive into the realm of the absolute and also come down into the realm of the duality for the sake of devotees. Then his enjoyment was greater. A person who has gone to the highest, you have reached the highest peak, you come back, then even to think about, to talk about, even to reminisce about that highest peak, that itself is a great joy and experience of Ananda. Because you have seen what it is. You have felt it yourself. You have reached that spot. You know what it is. So you come back and tell the story. This is what it is. So your Ananda is more complete. Rather than a person who is afraid of going to that steep claim and staying below to say, no, वहाँ जाना अच्छा नहीं है, क्यों गिर जाओगे वहाँ जाने में, हाथ पाँव टूट जाएगा. So that is the difference. So he says, she did not know that only those who are pure, illumined and content in the Atman can love God without motive. See, what a beautiful statement. See, any prayer, normally 99% of the people, whatever we pray for, always it is associated with something or other, because there is a duality. As long as the devotee, as long as the worshipper, as long as the struggling soul feels inadequate in anything, कुछ में अभाव जब तक बोध करते हैं, ये नहीं है, वो नहीं है, whatever it is, even in the realm of body, mind, practice, spirituality, anything, so there is always a recognition of the duality. But once you go beyond that, when it becomes absolutely pure, then there is no need, absolutely there is no awareness, there is no abhav, there is no shortage, no shortcoming, there is no absence of any deficiency, because the entity who can speak about the deficiency itself has vanished. See, as long as I am there, my body is there, my awareness is there, then I can think of my hunger, my thirst, or this or that, anything. Even to say that I am suffering from this samsara sagar, even I am suffering this bondage of birth and death, even that idea would come only when there is an idea of duality. But once you go beyond that, that means you have conquered even the idea of birth and death. And such a person alone can really enjoy that supreme bliss and beauty of a devotee. Because there is absolutely no trace of ego or the existence of the lower self in that person. So he says, pure devotion and pure knowledge, only those who are pure, illumined and content in the Atman can love God without motive. As the Master used to say, pure devotion and pure knowledge are one and the same. Why? Because in pure knowledge also you experience that undivided supreme bliss or the state of Satchit Ananda, where there is only the Atman or Brahman or the supreme consciousness. In the state of supreme devotion also, there is no recognition of the individuality of the devotee. There is only the perception of the Lord as the supreme, and that is also the devotee has kind of virtually merged into the Lord in the sense that he has so self-effaced himself. There is no need or there is no awareness of the individual devotee. There is only perception of the God or the ultimate or the Ishta. So that is why in that sense is pure knowledge and pure one and the same. We suppose that the Brahmani was not able to understand this. For this reason, when the master shaved his head, put on an ochre cloth and practiced Nirvikalpa Samadhi, after being initiated into sannyasa by Tothapuri, he kept it secret from his own mother as well as from Bhairavi Brahmin. Usko bhi nahi bataya. Bhairavi Brahmin batane mein to mana karega. She would prevent. So quietly he went away without telling her. She could not find him because you have also seen that Tothapuri's kutia is a little away from Thakur's room. So kahan chale gaye pata nahi. Where he went nobody knew. For 3 days he was simply locked there. Because then very quickly, in a matter of time, in no time, he initiated into sannyasa and then he was completely lost. He kept it secret. The master's aged mother lived in the upper floor of the northern Nahabhat Dakshineshwar. The master confined himself to the hut near the Panchavati for 3 days to practice the sadhana Vedanta beyond the range of public view. At that time, only Tothapuri occasionally visited him. The master had paid no heed to the Brahmani's words. So, actually, even by the time, even when he was doing the Vedanta sadhana, even much before that, after his first vision of the Divine Mother, slowly, all his major struggle was for those 12 years. There it was intense, unbelievable struggle. After that, once he had that first vision, very quickly he scaled one peak after another. And after that, whether it was Vedanta, whether it was Yoga, whether it was Bhakti, whether it was Tantra, whether it was anything, just 3 days. Can you imagine somebody realizing the highest supreme knowledge of the Vedantic school in just 3 days? That means what? Once the mind has become so pliable, the personality is so molded, it was just a question of only experiencing again and again the various modes of ultimate truth presented to humanity. See, again this clearly proves that there is nothing like superior or inferior. Whether you call it from the point of view of devotion, or whether it from the pure knowledge, or from the Tantra, or from Yoga, that is why Sri how he could say that Yatomat Tatopat, as many paths, faith, so many paths, how? The point is, he knew really, because once he had reached the highest peak through sadhana, everything else was just a child's play for him. That means what? There is nothing separate to be gained through again an intense struggle. You don't have to start afresh. Supposing, one mode of sadhana, one mode of realizing the truth was superior, then the sadhana would have been more intense to get it after one sadhana. Supposing if jnana is superior to bhakti, Sri Ramakrishna would reach the highest through bhakti. To get jnana, he would have had to struggle even more. But it became a child's play. How it was possible in 3 days? So that is why Sri Ramakrishna says, Sab Shara Yakra, at the highest level, whether you call it jnana, bhakti, yoga, or tantra, whatever it is, they are all one and the same. Only your perception, your way of explaining it, your way of putting it across in words, that might differ. But the person who is actually experiencing it is having the one and the same experience, namely one beyond sorrow, beyond birth, beyond death, beyond duality, beyond any kind of a limitation. And only that supreme bliss and supreme that kind of state of existence is all that he experiences. That is why any sadhana, just like a child's play, in 3 days he could reach, because it is only just a verification, a reconfirmation that whatever he had reached and known as highest through one path is again reconfirmed as highest through another path. But if you want to start this journey from the beginning, you also have to struggle very hard to come there. But then once you reach, supposing you want to come to Bhakti after Vedanta, yes, you can do it in 3 days. But basically, to go to the highest peak in one sadhana, you have to struggle very hard. And then, if the mind is so pliable, so conducive, so conditioned, then it becomes just like that. Anything you can do. So, in fact, by his very life, by his very mode of sadhana, Sri Ramakrishna clearly proved that all the truths are ultimately one and the same. There is nothing called, there is no distinction at the level of experience. That is proved by the easy way or the absolute ease with which he could reach each one of those highest peaks. So, he says, from what the Masters told us, it seems that the Brahmani was an aspirant of the heroic mode of Tantra. Now, he is coming to a different discussion. Now, he is saying, there are 3 types of sadhakas according to the Tantra school. One is called the Pasu Bhav, and then the Veer Bhav or the heroic Bhav, and the Divya Bhava. So, lust, anger and other animal propensities are predominant in the aspirant of the bestial mode. So, this division also, the Pasu Bhava, Veer Bhava, Divya Bhava also, it is not, your choice. You just say, no, I will go into Divya Bhava. No. Wherever you are fit, depending upon your state of mind, wherever you are, then the Tantric Guru would ask you to practice according to that mode. Supposing a person is a very raw, he is full of those emotions such as lust, anger, greed, etc. Such a person would be asked to go through the Pasu Bhava. Maybe after that, the other Bhavas might be taught to him, but initially he has to start with that. An aspirant of this type should avoid all objects of temptation, carefully maintaining external purity and conduct, and engage in japa and purascharana. That is repetition of mantra for perfection in that mode of sadhana. So, if a person is having all those defects or deficiencies, yes, you can be a tantric sadhaka according to the tantras, you can be, but you have to follow the Guru's instruction very carefully. Should completely avoid all objects of temptation externally. So you have all those tendencies, and then you go and if you live in that condition, or if you participate, or if you are part of all that, you will very quickly come down and all your sadhana will go to nothing. But once you know this and you are initiated, then you do constantly engage in japa. And they prescribed appears purascharana. Purascharana, you start, stay from 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 like that, you go up to 10,000, and then 9, 8, 7, 8 like that, you come up to 1,000. There is according to Ekadashi and Purnima and all that, they keep certain counts, keep ascending, and then they come descend and reach the starting point. Now the idea is slowly taking the mind upper and upper through constant repetition of that kind of a mantra, where you get more and more impetus, and then slowly you try to withdraw. Now, they should carefully maintain the external purity, and also they should practice. The idea is, you have all those tendencies, those defects are there. Through constant practice, living carefully, avoiding the external contact with all those objects of temptation, slowly you go and reach a steadier and higher level of mind, so that you can feel the presence of the Lord, the presence of the Ishta, presence of the goal of the Tantra, etc. That is possible. And then what happens in the heroic or the Veer Bhava? Passion for God prevails over animal propensities. The attraction of lust and gold and other sense objects only intensifies the aspirant's love and longing for God. So this type of aspirant should remain unperturbed while living amidst the temptations of lust and gold, and try to devote his or her mind wholeheartedly to God. So the next type, the Veer Bhava, under this is definitely a more qualified aspirant. Here also there is a great tendency for this tantric sadhana, but the defects of the other type that I mentioned for the Vasubhava sadhakas, they are much less. Actually, in that case, any suggestion, external suggestion of anything that is negative, only intensifies this aspirant's love and longing for God. So he is more and more deeper and deeper into it. He need not exactly avoid the external prevalence of some of those things or circumstances, because slightly more qualified aspirant, the mind is able to dive deeper into the deeper realms of tantric sadhana, although living, because any suggestion, in that case, when the mind is more purified, even if there is a suggestion in the external world of something which is capable of bringing down the mind, that only increases the passion for God. Oh, this mind which is to be given to God, where is this suggestion coming? Why is it affecting? And then with greater intensity, the mind dives deeper into that kind of a sadhana. As for the aspirant of the divine mood, the mind of such a one is free from lust and anger and has been carried away forever by the current of divine love. For that person, the practice of forgiveness, sincerity, kindness, contentment, truthfulness and other virtues has become as natural as breathing. In short, it can be said about these three modes of sadhana that the best, second best and the inferior aspirants mentioned in the Vedanta are correspondingly the followers of the divine, heroic and bestial mood. Vedanta also they say Uttam, Madhyam and Adham, Adhikaris. So like that, in every school they divide the aspirants into these parts. In the case of those who are aspirants, who are fit for this Divya Bhava, their mind has gone far beyond this realm of lust and anger and disturbance and all that. So they're all spontaneously they practice truthfulness, forgiveness, many of those qualities, which is a lifetime achievement for many people. They are so spontaneous. So even we saw during the Tantra Sadhana of Sri Ramakrishna, at one point of time, the Brahmani from somewhere, she brought a very beautiful looking young maiden. She said, you sit on her lap and do japa. Sri Ramakrishna was shocked, what is this? But the moment he sat, immediately he was in samadhi, and it was a great effort to bring his mind back from that state. So that means what? Absolutely he had gone far beyond the idea of body long ago. Normally what would be extremely distracting for any aspirant, for a male aspirant, for him, the very mention, so later on, whenever somebody talks about Karan, the drinks, Karan means you would immediately reminded of Jagat Karan, the primordial reason, the basis for all creation, and his mind would go into samadhi. Later on we have seen now in Calcutta in the streets, the women would be standing out in the verandas trying to attract the attention of people, and he would say, oh mother, you want to show yourself in this form, and he would go into samadhi. So because he was like that, he was of course more than fit for this Divya Bhava, but that is what happens. We saw clearly that very suggestion, within seconds, mother said you just do formally, because unless it is done, the 64 tantras are not complete. It is part of the ritual. See, many people do it as, she herself must have done it only as a ritual, not to gain it. She said, somehow Baba you sit and for a few minutes you do japa. But Sri Ramakrishna's case, immediately he went into samadhi, and with great difficulty she had to bring his mind back. So these are basically the three types of tantric sadhakas, because I myself don't know much about this tantra and all that. Now, Shantatmananda describes about what exactly is Bhairavi Brahmani's problem and how she got over it. That's what he is describing. That we shall take it up on the 13th, a day before New Year Day, and we'll also wish you Happy New Year on that day. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.